Hi guys, we have Jacobus with us. As most of you guys in the US and South Africa know him, he is a former World Cup T20 player for South Africa. He played in 2008, and he is a first class list A T20 player in South Africa as well. And he's currently playing in the US for Major League Cricket and Minor League Cricket. He has about 20 centuries in his list A and first class career, and he also has like 130 wickets in his South African career. And welcome to the show, Obus. Thanks for joining us here today.
Hi, Santosh. Nice to be here.
Likewise, it's my pleasure having you, Obus. I'll jump into my questions. So let me ask you a question about your journey from South Africa to the US. How was it? What are the challenges you faced during this transition?
Yeah, and it's an interesting journey, Santosh. I think looking back in 2018, 19, when I was still playing first class cricket in South Africa, I never thought I'd play cricket in America. I never even knew there was cricket in America. To my surprise,
Right.
sort of spoke to my wife at that stage around end of 2019, 2020. We wanted to see if we could live outside of South Africa for a little bit, travel, see the world. And then at that exact same time, Rusty Tron, who played for South Africa, was in the USA for a long time. Then I think he moved in 2016. And he contacted me to see, and he told me about the opportunity with Major League and cricket in America. And I was like, that's the perfect opportunity for me. So we grabbed both hands. We unfortunately it was during COVID, so just initially quite difficult to get all the visa stuff done. But we got here in 2021, in May of 2021, and then landed in St. Louis where we played together.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the story of how I got to America.
Thank you. And actually, it's really, we are glad. Me as a cricketer personally, I feel like the move, I don't know about you guys, people like Obus coming into US actually made what happened in the T20 World Cup happen. A player traveling and playing and upping the scale in terms of challenges and quality of cricket. I think you guys are like part of everything what happened in the World Cup. And I'm really looking forward to looking into the USA jersey sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
And let's jump into something lighter. Share me something what you feel really memorable about cricket, some memorable moment that you cherish when you go to bed any day from your cricketing background. That will be batting, bowling, anything.
Yeah, I think some of my earliest memories of just having fun playing cricket started obviously from a really young age, playing in primary school. We played on a rugby field, so I
Rugby
actually
field.
so the rugby field, so the shape is a little bit different. It's like a rectangle, so the straight boundaries were always really long, but I loved to hit the ball straight, and then the square boundaries were short, and I probably didn't access those well enough when I was younger because they teach you to play straight. So that's like my earliest memories is playing in primary school. But again, my best memories, some of the stand-up ones would be my double hundred. I scored against the strong Titans team in the first last game. That was quite early on in my career. At that stage, it was the quickest double hundred in South Africa.
So that was the quickest.
Wow. Yeah, so it was a really good memory for me against a very good bowling attack.
What is your usual mindset when you go into big games or a pressure situation? How do you handle it? It'd be really helpful for the youngsters hearing it from you, what you take in whenever you're under the bus, let's say. How do you handle challenging situations?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and I think there's a lot of answers to that. I'm still figuring that out myself. I think it's a evolving process. I think early on, when you're younger, when I was probably around 20, 21, you just play with a lot of freedom. You didn't think about cricket too much, and then the older you get, you start thinking about it a lot more, and sometimes overthink it. So I found probably with the batting recently, especially in T20 cricket, which is a focus in America for us. In T20 cricket, I really try and stay on the positive side. So watch the ball. That's going to be very important for me. I think when the game gets fast and we're under pressure, we tend to not watch the ball. try and not premeditate too much. That's a key for me as well. But then really try and put the pressure back on the bowler, because if I'm feeling pressure, he's going to feel pressure as well. So just trying to transfer that to the bowler.
You kind of counter attack to put the bowler down. Basically, when you're feeling the heat, you try to like counter attack and put the bowler down, right? So that's one of the keys to modern day cricket.
Yeah, exactly. And probably it's not always hitting a six. It's maybe getting him to bowl a ball that you want him to bowl. So whether that's a slower ball or a wide yorker or bouncer, whatever your strength is, you want him to force you to bowl to your strengths or to a specific shot or area that you feel that would work on that day. And that's again when I played with Steve Smith this season, he was phenomenal at it. He was reading the game so well, and he was reading the bowlers really well. So that's a massive advantage. What's an important thing we can try and do when we're under pressure and when we want to transfer the pressure to the bowlers.
Make the bowler bowl what you wanted to bowl. That's the first time I'm hearing it. Somebody say, but when I think about it, it's hitting me. Actually, play shots to make him do what you want him to do. Yeah, I'll note it for myself too. This one. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And speaking about fitness, I wanted to touch on the fitness aspect of cricket with modern day cricket and the yo-yos coming in. I know that you had injuries in the past. If I'm not wrong, you were a medium pace bowler when you started your career, like you were quick and then you started bowling orthodox. Do you want to kind of touch on fitness for the generations coming up, how important it is in cricket? Because there's always a gray area. People say that as long as I'm balanced, my head is steady, I'm good to go. But few people argue on the other side, like Virat Kohli, and people say that you need to be fit. You need to hit that 19.1 in yo-yo. So from your experience and your past, what is your take on this? Like, would you suggest anything from your experience?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of the different answers to that, and the more I've played, the more I've seen different people perform at the highest level. I'm like, there's no one way to do it. For me, I've always liked to be fit. I've always enjoyed the fitness side. Injuries are part of the game. I felt if I'm stronger, I get less injuries. So I need to spend time in the gym as well. Again, it's something I enjoy. It's a lifestyle for me. But whether that makes you a better cricketer, I'm not sure. You look at Rohit Sharma. I mean, you look at loads of different players in different shapes and sizes. Hashim Amla probably wasn't the strongest or fittest guy, but he could score 300s in Test cricket. So
mentally tough guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I played against a lot of bowlers as well that probably couldn't look the fittest, but they could bowl 135 plus for long periods of time. One thing I would encourage, especially for the kids in USA and the younger people, is to play a little bit more sports, do different kinds of fitness, run around, get your body to move in more athletic ways. I think the more of an athlete you are, the better it will be for most people. Again, cricket's a skill game, but it's also some part of it is an athletic side. So I would encourage everyone just to participate in different sports and different activities and sort of find what works for you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for breaking it down for us. So jumping on, I wanted to ask, what's the most challenging situation? I know you played so much cricket compared to us and people in US. What's the most challenging game or situation you've come across, and how have you handled it? If you just want to let us know.
Yeah. Probably, to be honest, I think growing up in South Africa, we're very fortunate. We've got really good facilities. We've got the pathway, we've got the structures. And back then, I probably didn't appreciate it. And when I came to USA, I found there's very little facilities. Like even to practice, you don't always have people to practice with. People are working. Like literally, I had to practice in St. Louis. There's no indoors really there. So I remember coming in, I was like, wow, this is difficult. I sort of all of a sudden appreciated what we had in South Africa a lot more. But then made the mind shift and realized that you could use a lot of different facilities to practice and train. There's different ways to get to skin the cat, as they say. And I think it's improved my mentality around that. It's improved a lot. Not being too worried about facilities, or even when you go and play, you can score runs on different wickets. You can bowl well on different wickets. So yeah, I've definitely made a good mind shift with regards to that, and I think it's improved my training a hell of a lot.
Interesting. So one thing I've noticed in South Africa is the wicket is hard, mainly because of the weather, I guess so, and the way they water it, and it tends to like climb steep. Whenever India goes, that's the only thing I watch, and it's quite scary. For you, it might not be. You're like really tall, but I have like players, including me, when I see a tall bowler and the wicket is like bouncing and it's behaving, it's a mental thing in your head, like, oh, okay, should I go front foot or back foot and things like that. So you would have had a similar thing when you came here, like you mentioned, the wickets are not that good. Like in South Africa, it might be like just not climbing to you at all. It would be rolling in, and you might be like hesitating. So did you like do anything different over there to practice, or you just trusted your training and your game and not focusing much about it?
No, I definitely had to make some adjustments.
Okay.
Obviously, in South Africa, I grew up on those wickets. In Bloemfontein, where I'm from, the wicket's generally pretty good for batting. It's got decent pace and bounce as well, but it's generally quite good for batting. But then when I came here, the biggest shock for me was playing on the artificial wickets, and I struggled initially. I remember playing a tournament in Ohio. And after the first game, they demoted me batting from 4 to 7 because they thought I was batting too slow. I didn't understand the game. I didn't understand the way you should play on artificial wickets and how much you can trust the bounce and just swing through the line. And again, sort of learned from that and developed my game and played with a little bit more freedom, got more confidence the more I played on it. And then again, you would go to different wickets in St. Louis. We had the hybrid wicket. Well, back then, the different hybrid wicket that was really low and slow. Had to adjust your game on there again.
Wow.
And then everywhere you go, it's just different wickets. So I think in America, it's not easy for batters. So you've just got to be
Of course.
open to whatever you're gonna face.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear that you struggle and you had to adapt so much to blend in, because we from outside always thought that these guys can adapt to any wicket, so they can just go in and bat because they've played cricket so much and to that level of cricket. So it's good lesson for people hearing that you can still keep practicing and working on yourself when you go in and challenge yourself. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, one more question to you. Who or rather than who is the toughest player you've bowled to, or the toughest person you've batted against, who you found challenging? It can be anybody.
Someone that stood out to me is probably not I don't think even everyone will know him, but he's Rory Kleinveld. He played a lot of first-class cricket in South Africa. He did play for South Africa Test cricket, but he was just like a big guy, and he would run in. And I played my very first game for my franchise against him, and he played a lot of cricket.
Who's that, Obis? Sorry to cut you off. Who's that?
His name's Rory Kleinveld. So he opened the bowling with Vernon Philander.
Okay.
But then he was a little bit faster, and he would just keep on running in, hitting the splice. And I just remember thinking, at this level, there's no all volleys. It just felt like everything hit my splice. So it was a good learning curve. But then you face different challenges. I mean, I remember playing Imran Tahir early on, and especially with the white ball, really difficult to pick him. He was so skillful. And you had to score fast in the one-day format and T20 format. So yeah, and then it's just different challenges throughout. Then you would face guys bowling 145, whether it's Mona Mokel or Rabada. That's different challenges again. So those are a couple of the tough opponents I played against.
So interesting point you made. You said Imran Tahir with the white ball. Is there a specific reason why white ball, or is that the pressure that you need to keep rotating? It's ODI cricket, so you don't have time to watch his hand and do stuff.
Yeah. I always found I'm probably not the best at picking someone from the end, where especially with white ball cricket under the lights, the red ball with the white seam, you can just see which way the seam's going a lot easier. So I played him in red ball, and it was a completely different game. It also meant he had probably only 2 fielders out, maybe 3 fielders out, whereas in the white ball, he's always going to have those 5 fielders out. So that's the main part of it. And I think he was just more confident with the white ball as well. But yeah, it was very difficult to pick him. And then the oldie guy, again, he developed his game to bowl a really good slow leg spinner, whereas initially he didn't have it. So that was always fun. You play against guys and they develop their games, and you've got to keep adjusting as well.
Thanks for the insight. That was really informative for me to know that. Okay, final comments from you, Obis, to any kids watching this, or for anybody coming up, looking up. So many players already look up to you here in the US. So any final closing statements or feedback or comments on how to approach the game in the US with so much things going on, Major League, Minor League? What's your advice on their path heading towards the USA team?
Yeah, good question. I think it depends a lot where you're based. Obviously, a lot of players play a lot of cricket in the indoors and practice indoors and play on artificials. But the one thing I would really encourage, and I mentioned this earlier, is to play different sports. So we become a little bit more athletic. So that's just from an athletic point of view. Do different exercises, different fitness stuff, so you can be really athletic. And then from a skill point of view is focus on T20. That's what I would say. I think T20 could be really big in America. I know there are some 40 over and 50 over games, but if I was coming through the ranks as a young kid and I'm batting, I would try and hit the ball hard and bowlers, bowl with different variations and think about T20 cricket mostly.
Okay, perfect. Well, I am wrapping my segment here. Obus, thanks again for your time. I promised you 15 minutes. I did my best because I would keep talking to you the whole day. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining in, Obus. I really wanted to do this with you when I start my cricket latte because, like I said, you're one of my favorite batters. I like to watch the way you paced your innings in the minor leagues, how you took us to the super over and stuff in Houston. All those things, it's like I was pretty much carrying water bottle watching you. I enjoyed watching. So it's my pleasure to have you here in my one of the first two episodes. Thanks again for your time, Obis, and good luck with your cricketing career. And like I said, hopefully I want to see you in the USA colors sometime.
Awesome, Santhosh, good to be here, and all the best with the show. I'm sure it'll go really well.
Thank you, Obis. Take care.